All right, guys. Well, again, we have Jernard McCray with Does It All Inspections. So far, the conversation has been great based off of the reviews that we've read. He has great customer service, how he has implemented technology and videos within his inspection reports. That's something that I noticed, which I haven't received videos when it comes to inspection reports. So I thought that was pretty unique, to have, if we ever needed to use it in negotiations or things like that. So we're just glad to have Mr. McCray here, and we're going to take it, bring it to you. Introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about Does It All.
All right. Hello, my name is Jernard McCray, owner operator of Does It All Home Inspection. And so I've been in business on my own for about 5 years now, in the industry for 8. Prior to that, I was in the agriculture sector. I have 2 degrees in that. And so a bachelor's and master's in the ag sector, worked for Prairie View A&M University for about 10 years with the 4-H and youth development portion of it. And so from there, went on to Minnesota, worked there in agriculture and seed sales, and back to Texas to work at Worthing as an ag teacher, and found my way out to being a home inspector. Had a realtor that was a neighbor that kept being on me for years while I was at Prairie View, saying that he thought I'd do good at it. And I just was like, it's a waste of my time. I went to school to do agriculture and got bored one day and wanted something to pique my interest. So I took a look at it and been here ever since. So like you were being told just a moment ago, that everything is turned around the same day as the inspection itself, report wise. When I finish your home, the report is turned around and done at that moment in time. It doesn't take me time to go home and do the actual report. I actually do it on site as I'm going through every step, so I don't forget something to put in the report. I go ahead and do it right there at that time. Videos are included in every report. And then not just of all the negative things, but also the positive things, showing the functionality. Sometimes people buying a home, especially a resale, you may not know which switch is. And so the seller may not leave you a list, but now with this video, you're able to go back into that report and be able to know what that switch is for. So I even do those type of things, not just all the deficiencies that are in the report or video. And I capture roofs a lot of times by drone to be able to show them an overview of what their home looks like above, and a sneak peek of what the neighbors' areas might look like, because sometimes you want to know what their backyard is kind of like sometimes. So just giving them an overview overall. Again, my name is Jernard McCray, owner operator of Does It All Home Inspection. And you can actually go on Google and different places to be able to see what people are saying about my company. I also have been working with me now. You may be familiar with Marlon Smith. He's done a Zoom meeting, a lunch and learn before with the group. And so he also works with me as well. So we can get started. Obviously, that's my information, trick number there. You can look me up, everything's active. So that's just telling you a little bit about my background. Born and raised in Arkansas, town called Monticello, and it's about 100 miles south of Little Rock. So been here since '03. So been here for a good little while now. And so what you're gonna see, how you trying to do food? Yeah. What you can eat. What you're gonna see is photos that are gonna come up later on, and what they're gonna be is a different photos of home inspections. A lot of people always ask, why is it important to get a home inspection? And I tell people, hey, it's another way for someone else to have eyes on this home, especially new construction. A lot of times people think, well, my home is new, I shouldn't get a home inspection. Well, to me, I always compare things to cars because that's what I grew up around. My dad is a mechanic. And it's like saying you buy a new car. When you think of a new car versus an old car, the old cars are not the ones you see on the news with the recalls. It's the new cars. And the reason is no one has put them out on the road to test them out. They've only been tested in-house. When people put pressure on a car, then you find out what the recalls are of malfunction. The same thing with a new home, new construction. They're building them, they install everything, on to the next one. What I do is I go in every home like my mom is gonna buy it. That's my mindset, and I love my mom dearly. So I put pressure on every single home. What I mean by that, I leave all the lights on during the duration of the inspection because I want to see what's going to malfunction. And it has been some homes that I've come to where it actually has shut down the whole meter, and not just the breakers, but the meter has shut down on a few homes because of the load that I put on it. And then they find out they got a problem, not just from a breaker standpoint or panel, it's actually a problem from the city with that particular home. And it happened here just last month on a home, actually. So I also run water through fixtures. I don't just turn on dishwashers, turn them off to say they came on. I actually run them through a full normal cycle because new construction, a lot of times things have been installed, but nobody's running. So therefore, and even on resales, I've been to some homes to where they say, hey, I don't even know how to use it because we don't trust dishwasher. They don't wash the dishes as good, different things for different people. So I run them through a cycle to see if they're going to leak. And just this week, hardwood floors, dishwasher leak. So I'm in there trying to clean up hardwood floors on a resale home because the dishwasher was leaking. But those are things I need to do to find out before you move into this home. Does it have some issues? And so I video those type of things to capture them in that inspection report. And then, like I said, the plumbing fixtures are operated, ACs, your heaters. And one thing to keep in mind, I know a lot of times you have a situation like we have this week. Temperatures do not get to at least 60 degrees. We cannot run the AC portion of a unit because you will potentially freeze the unit up. Because what happens, a lot of people think the AC is the actual component on the outside with the fan. That's a component that communicates to the AC in the inside of your attic space or closet or wherever they have your HVAC equipment set up. So that's actually called the condenser unit. Now the condenser unit is really about the brains or where a lot of stuff is held, which is the freon and the motor. So then if you look at it, the freon is outside already in cooler temperatures. And so if you're trying to turn on an AC unit inside of a home, which the condenser unit is trying to push this cold freon through to, it's going to freeze up on the outside of that home, which is going to cause damage, which is going to cause me to have to pay for it because I knew that. So those are some of the things that we can't do. Another thing that just started February 1st by Texas Real Estate Commission, which obviously governs us, have now stated that we are required to write up even resale homes that don't have arc faults throughout them. I don't know many people that's going to go and update an entire 1965 home that, yeah, they may have done some renovations, but they may not be putting arc fault breakers throughout the entire home. So keep that in mind when you're getting inspection reports going forward. That's something that we're mandated to put in there now. And also child safety, the tampering resistant outlets that are not, any outlets on your walls that are not above 5 feet, which is all the outlets, they're required to be tamper resistant. Only houses are going to have those as new construction. So it's going to be stuff that's on your reports going forward. And the new report form is 7-6, REI 7-6. So if you're working with an inspector that is not utilizing that starting as of February 1st, and they're still on 7-5, that's incorrect. It has to be the 7-6 form because it's new things. We have to now explain where the gas meters are located. If there's gas on the home, we have to explain what type of plumbing is being utilized for drain pipes. Also for plumbing, as far as what's coming into the home. We also have to identify what type of gas features or gas piping is now on a home. We have to identify those things and let you all know in a report where your shutoff valves are, which these things I've been doing all the time anyway, just from the people that I shadowed to learn the things that I learned. So these are some of the things that are new that are going to probably be brought up as concerns from your clients when they're buying resale homes and they're seeing these things. It's going to scare them. And I always try to caution them before I even do a report that, hey, these are things we're going to have to put on there, but it's like buying an old car. It's not a car that's going to have airbags. It's not a car that's going to have automatic windows if it's built in the 80s. Understand that. It's not like brand new constructed cars. So it's going to be some things that's written up because of safety features, but not meaning that your home is about to fall apart. And so the last thing I'll say about this introduction part is that my reports come in email, and it's going to be 2 separate links in the same exact email. You're going to have a PDF style report, which is a required by TREC. And then the second report is going to be a web-based report. And that's the one that I have interactive videos and things like that in the report, but they come in one email, just 2 separate links. And they're hyperlinks there. Your clients can actually, or you can schedule inspections on my website. Because a lot of times I get calls or texts, hey, how much do you charge for this house? And how much you charge for this? Well, you can do an a la carte type of setup there on the scheduling system. And you can actually just schedule everything at once. So you may have a client strictly need a roof inspection. Then it's a price in there. Or you may say, I need a full home inspection, plus it has a pool, plus it has sprinkler systems. Now, don't waste your time clicking the sprinkler systems, because I check those anyway. So it's going to give you an additional fee when you click it. The reason that's like that is because the a la carte. Let's say a person calls me, they just want me to check the pool and check the sprinkler system. Okay, this is your price. But most homes don't have a pool, you know, so I always click that, because I do have people going, well, your price said this. Yeah, you didn't click the pool. I'm not crazy. And then pier and beams are going to always cost a little more, because we got to crawl underneath the home. And so we got to inspect the same square footage of the home inside as it is underneath. So always look at that as a factor as well. So these are just the different types of inspections that are performed. And I'll tell you here while we're on this part, a lot of times people are listing homes. We have a lot of listing agents out there that typically are not, from my experience, I won't say from all other inspectors, that don't have inspections done. I always say be proactive instead of reactive. And I know it's a seller's market right now. You have a lot of situations where they can say, hey, I'm selling the home as is. Well, the thing is, if you're proactive instead of reactive, it's like Carfax with a car. So I'm not going to come in, and I know a lot of times people selling a home are not looking to pay the full price as a home inspection, because they can care less. They're selling this home. So I'll do a consulting service. I got to do one actually tomorrow. So what I do for $275 is come into the home, and it's totally up to the client. If I have to put it in a report form, obviously now you got to put that on the seller's disclosure. If we verbally communicate this, and I go around and show you some things that you need to have addressed prior to you putting it on the market, then that's things that you verbally were communicated. It doesn't necessarily have to be on a report. I've already had this approved. I've talked to the person that's one of the head people at the TREC rules, and that's fine to do, where you don't have to put that in a seller's disclosure. So what I do is I tackle the big ticket items. So we're going to go around your home. I'm going to check your HVAC system. I'm going to check your water heaters. I'm going to check your electrical panel. I'm going to take the cover off, look at the wiring, look at the breakers, make sure nothing's overheating. I'm going to go and look at your roof. I'm looking at your roof structure. I'm going into your attic space, because I got to look at the roof structure there, look for any leaks, make sure your attic insulation depth is good, make sure nothing's going on in that attic space. Foundation, that's going to be checked. So those are going to be the big ticket items. Whereas if you got a window not working, a door not working right, operating right, an outlet over here not right, that's not going to be things that's going to deter a person too fast compared to any of those big ticket items. The HVAC equipment, the water heaters, the foundation, the roof, the electrical panel, all of those are going to be the ones that are checked and operated to make sure they're working fine. Once we do that, we can communicate about it right then on the spot, and you'll know how to address it. Also, I have a team of people, which obviously you all do as well. As far as realtors, you got teams of people you trust and you work with that are professionals in other fields, roofers, for instance, and things like that. But if you ever need resources, I have a team of resources as well. I don't get paid, obviously we can't with TREC, but I have a team of resources, general contractors, roofers, electricians, plumbers, the list goes on, of people that I've actually used in my house, not just people I go and come across. I actually want to test them out myself before I put my name out there. So if they mess up, then they might have messed up on my house and I just hadn't caught it yet. So, and if you tell me they're doing wrong, it's no questions asked. It's time to take them off the list. This business is too critical for us to make mistakes time and time again, because your reputation is everything. And so that's what I bank on. So these are just some photos going forward of old homes, new homes. You can see dates. I do that also. You're not going to see it on a lot of reports, but I have an actual handheld camera that I take with me as well. It's a CYA camera. Sometimes I use a body cam, depending on the home I go into. If I got a feeling that that seller is a little bit leery of me coming in, now it's time to put the body camera on. Because of the fact, I don't want you trying to say I stole some, I knocked some over, I broke this, I did anything. No, that body camera was there. Let's go back and look at those videos. Or I take a lot of still shot photos with this camera here to put dates, they timestamp, do everything like that. And I just keep those for my records. So that way, if it's a home, even on new construction, I do this because of the fact people can always come back and say, oh, you did this, you did that. And I've had that happen. And I let them get through saying what everything they have to say. And I say, okay, let me go get my camera. Let's pull it out. And then when they see the time frames and things, now it's time to stop talking because they know they're lying. So I do this from, just a CYE standpoint. But these photos here are showing, like you see the rust on a vent cap. A lot of times when you're looking at a home or your clients are looking at a home, nobody's walking on the roof or nobody's looking at the roof. But that's a water penetration spot waiting to happen with a rusted big cap like that. The other one, the cracks in the fireplace. A lot of times we're just trying to see, is it wood-based? Is it going to be a wood-burning fireplace or gas? Now, one thing I did pay attention to with this last freeze, keep in mind with a home that has a gas fireplace, don't quote me on, I don't know if y'all recording this or not, but a home that has a gas fireplace. I've seen a lot of people utilizing them for wood burning. So what they're doing, like, obviously we had a situation where everybody's electricity went out, so you may not have had a heating source. So what they're doing, you still got a natural gas source. Turn the gas on, get it ignited, put your wood in there, let it burn, get started, turn the gas option off. And now it's a wood burning fireplace that can hold some heat for you. And don't write me up for trick, but that's just a side note for you. Yeah, something I heard. But those cracks in the back of your fireplace could lead to a fire in the home. Fire is just like water. It's going to find a path of least resistance and be able to go in. So behind that could be your regular wall too, because most of our fireplaces are in like the living room areas. So behind that, a lot of times is our in reports, primary bedrooms, our master bedrooms, or any other bedrooms or areas. So then now it can consume into that wall. Now you got a house fire. So always check for cracks with that. And then the gas fireplaces also a lot of times are missing what they call a damper clamp, D-A-M-P-E-R. And that's a clamp that's supposed to be on the damper flap to keep the flap from closing completely. Because if it closes completely and you get a small gas leak, now you get carbon monoxide in your home that you're not aware of. Also, keep these vents, damper flaps open if you're ever using a gas fireplace. That allows the carbon monoxide to escape. New construction. So you can see we're missing some things, but then and a lot of times you'll come to them, they're missing the whole section of not just the light is missing, but the cap and the cover is missing. But on that second photo, that's the condenser unit. And a lot of people think that's the AC unit, but that's the condenser. But the problem in this photo is if a HVAC person comes along, heat and ventilation and AC is HVAC. If they come along to work on this actual piece of equipment, they don't have the proper space between that wall and the condenser unit to get on that backside to actually work on it. So that's improper. So now they're going to charge your client even more money to come and work on something because the builder didn't do something proper. The other thing, if you look at the base down where it has the date around the grass, the pad is supposed to be at least 3 inches above the soil line. And you can see that thing is not 3 inches above that soil line. Because you don't want water to end up ponding around it and causing problems with that condensing unit. That's going to cost your client a lot of money too. You can go. New construction steel. So that's damaged air ducts in the attic space where they damaged it, and now you're already seeing the insulation, which is helping try to be able to keep everything together there for that air duct. The other problem you have on the second one is the damaged sheetrock, and that's above a doorway. So what's happening, That's not actually on the outside where you'll be walking into the closet. That's on the inside. So what I do, because on most closets, they're not gonna be deep to where you can actually step back and look up. I take my hand and I feel across that entire spot to see if I find a gap. If I find a gap, now I can take my camera, because I basically use my phone for my entire report. So I'll take a phone and put it up there, take that photo to capture that. That goes in the report, because you'll never see that because you're not looking up there. And I'm not trying to discredit anyone, by the way, but you're looking at a lot of times the people buying the homes are people that's looking at the amenities, the floor plans, everything like that. They're not gonna look up there and then probably never see it, but I call that the Friday crew. Every time I find simple mistakes, I call those the Friday crews that were on the job, trying to hurry up and get off from work. So, here, they said the home was complete in the first photo. We're missing something. So it's supposed to be what they call a vent pipe connected in that top cabinet. So when you turn on your microwaves, you have that little fan button where you can turn on the vent, the exhaust, the range unit vent. So that's gonna suck out the fumes, things like that, out to the exterior when it's one of those exterior type of range hood. Now you have some that are actually range hoods that vent and recirculate above the microwave. It have like little vents above it and just recirculate the air. And so in this case, it was supposed to be the type that vents to the exterior, but it's not gonna do that. It's missing an entire pipe that's supposed to be up there, connected to that spot that's up there in the hole in the wall. The second photo is new construction damaged shingles. So what happens here, you see those spots in the shingles and like it's like the shingles melted. So in the summertime, shingles get hot. They're really not good to walk on. From my understanding from professional roofers, shingles were never meant for us to walk on. A lot of people always put the Christmas lights up, hire the companies to come walk the shingles. Shingles have what they call granules on top of them. And a lot of times with your gutters, you'll see these little bitty pebbly little granulate like type things. That's coming off of your shingles. Granules are like tire tread. So over time, they're gonna wear. The more you track them or walk on them, the more likelihood you're wearing off the shingles over time. So what happens here with new construction, as they're building on a two-story, they're gonna take a ladder, put on the first floor and of shingles and be able to get up to that second level. Well, it's hot outside, so that what you think gonna happen when the weight of that person going up with shingles, getting to the second level, it pushes down on these, and instead of them replacing and repairing them, again, it's the Friday crew. They just say, hey, nobody's gonna pay that any attention, but now you got a spot that's gonna hold water in that place and that shingle is damaged. Now you're gonna have a water leak that's not gonna probably show up until, because it's gotta come through the shingle, the roof deck. Well, it's gotta go through the shingle, the felt paper, then the roof deck, then the attic insulation, then to your ceiling. By the time all this maybe happen, it may be after your warranty on something. So now that's when you, yeah, so those are things, and a lot of these shingle companies will void warranties because they know this didn't happen because of them. This happened because the builder's workers. So then they're gonna try to get out of that too, because they're gonna say, we're not paying for you to get more shingles. That wasn't something that we had defective shingles. So those are things that we're looking for as well. So we're still new construction. So you can see the ductwork where it has the number 10 is in direct contact with that smooth vent pipe. That smooth vent pipe is actually your furnace or your heater's vent pipe. So we know heat is gonna be coming through that. So what do you think probably is gonna happen over time eventually? You may be in a new house before you know it, and you just bought this new one here because everything gonna catch on fire because that's gonna melt. You got combustible material in wood and insulation up there. So everything is about to go up. So go ahead.
No, I'm gonna ask, so the tape that's going underneath the insulation,
You talking about?
the white tape right there, that's going around the silver part?
You talking about here?
Yeah.
So that's another piece of like a metal. It helps hold the pipe up.
Okay, I was
So it's
thinking that whoever did the insulation take that to the pipe. but
No,
something
it's an
separate.
actually separate piece that's required. So the pipe has to be held up because of how long it is. It has to be held up in separate sections to make sure it doesn't have any bend in it because it's separate pieces of pipe put together to keep it up. No, ma'am, that's the two different parts of the company that neither one of them decided to work together to fix the problem. So what's gonna basically have to happen is that air duct needs to be picked up and lifted off with some straps. But you don't want it, if you can see barely the top of that photo, it's another duct there. You never want two ducts to touch because of the condensation that can build up, which could lead to damage of the air duct as well. So they gotta, what they'll have to do is put insulation in between them, what they call bat insulation or blanket. Remember the old Pink Panther one where it rolls out? That's bat or blanket insulation. You'll cut a piece, put in between there, and then you can let them touch. So the second photo is a mechanical exhaust vent that's disconnected. So if you take that arrow, if you want to, I don't know if they can see the arrow on your end or not. So right there, and then up at the top, that black piece, that's supposed to be connected. And so in your bathrooms, you have exhaust fans. A lot of people, not trying to be nasty or anything, think those are for when you're using the bathroom. It doesn't do anything for that smell. Whoever's at your house still know you in the bathroom. What those are designed for is to get the moisture out of your bathroom. So you probably have come to homes and you're gonna start looking down. And you come to these homes, and especially in the bathroom, you see rust on the supply vents that are producing the air in the home. You see rust on the ones that are made out of like metal. And then on the ones that are plastic, you'll see like mildewy, moldy look. That comes from the moisture building up on over time. So that humidified air, every time you're taking a shower, bath, hot baths, and ladies a lot of times love the hot baths and shower, you're gonna put a lot of moisture in the bathroom. So you should have that mechanical exhaust fan on the entire time. Now, I know you all don't like the noise because it sometimes just gets annoying, but it's serving a purpose to suck all of that out to the exterior of your home. In this case, the problem is because it's sucking it into your attic space. Now you're putting humidified air into the attic space, which leads to moisture into the attic space, which leads to a lot of times you'll see the moisture on the HVAC equipment in the attic space. It may not be it's not the only reason, but it's one of the reasons you'll see that because of that humidified air. Since we're on this photo, because it won't have that in there, where the arrow is pointing now, that's called a tech shield or a radiant barrier. Anytime those are in the attic, they always tell you to help with keeping your light bill lower. I got one in my house. I tell you, it's just as hot in that attic as it is outside. The best type of insulation now that I've seen is spray foam insulation in an attic space, because they produce conditioned air in the attic space to keep that space as cool as it is in your house. Meaning your HVAC equipment is not working as hard to produce any temperatures inside your home, because in your attic space is always warmer than the rest of your house. So your HVAC system is most of the time sitting in a hotter place, which makes it work as hard to produce temperatures inside of your home cooler. But HVAC system?
No, the insulation.
It depends on that. That's just a tech shield. So that's supposed to deflect the sun rays and everything to keep your deck cooler, you know, from underneath the shingles and things like that. But what we have to point out here, not a deficiency, but what I was trying to point out about the texture, I got on a rant. But that tech shield keeps us from being able to see water stains on your deck. So if you do have a water stain on your deck, we will be unaware because we couldn't see it. So we have to put that disclaimer in there. Well, some people, I do, because I don't want you calling me saying, hey, I got a stain. I couldn't see it. I had no clue where it was coming from without having visual capability to do so. So that's one thing that's bad about the tech shield from that standpoint, not meaning it's a bad product, but we can't see where you might have a leak coming through on your deck.
But you would be able to see it with the spray foam?
You won't be able to see with that either. Oh. The only ones can be able to see it is the old houses that are built where you just see the wood deck. And you still have some new construction, but a majority of them either gonna have spray foam insulation or tech shield. You won't be able to find it. And then that water finds the least path of resistance. So a lot of times you may have a stain in your, let's say, living room, but the water leak is in your primary bedroom closet above that area, but the gravity took it and it started to drop there. Now, a roofer is the only one that'll really be able to determine where it actually is at and be able to locate it. They because that's what they do for a living. So I always tell people too, while we're on this point, a home inspector is like a general practitioner from a doctor standpoint. You go to them for your annual checkups, you know, things like that. But when they find out you got a problem, they send you to a specialist, heart problem, cardiologist, and so on and so forth. Me, I'm gonna send you to the specialist, electrician, plumbers, roofers, that's their specialty. That's all they deal with. I'm a person that's looking at the general well-being of the entire home. So just keep that in mind as well when you're thinking of home inspectors. We know a little bit about some of everything, but we ain't specialists in all of that stuff. So some people may lie to you and say they are. I'm gonna just be real with you.
And it's like you cover so many different areas. It's like you sound like you're the expert in all, right?
I just tell them I'm a generalist. So this house here was new construction. What was funny about this, the gentleman, he still sends me business to this day. And so what it is, he's a energy, the people that do like the blower door, the energy, I can't even think of the name of it, but they check your house for energy levels and making sure everything is right for energy efficiency. So when I went to do his home inspection, he was there. He said, I don't know why we're paying you to do this job, because I already know everything it is to know about this home before we buy it. And I said, sir, if you don't want me to inspect the home, I can leave right now before we get started. You're not wasting my time. Yeah, I drove over here. He said, well, go on with your job. And so I said, okay. And I turned the dishwasher on, running it through a cycle. It was doing just fine. All of a sudden, it started doing what you're seeing, leaking down the side, doing different things like that. His garage door already was damaged. You know, a lot of times we open and close and make sure they work. Which garage doors, while we're on it, are supposed to be self-closing, but this one wasn't doing the self-closing, but it also was damaged completely. So now, because a garage door is supposed to be a 20-minute fire-rated door. And so if it has any damage, a lot of times I'm seeing on new construction now, they're putting peepholes in a garage door. I have never heard, or I don't understand why you put a peephole in a garage door just to look at your other door, but they're doing it. And so doggy doors, all of that breaches the fire protection of a garage door. That's why that door is heavier than any other door in your home, because it's a 20-minute rated fire door. I've never tested one to see if it really doesn't burn up for 20 minutes, but that's what they say. So this one is already damaged on a new construction home, so it's no good. It needs to be replaced. That's the same home, and I think the next few photos are other stuff, things I found on his home. Yep, so the next one, you can see that's a water heater at the bottom of it. And at the bottom is where you're gonna see your gas flames on a gas water heater. Well, with the insulation that close up against the area that actually heats up, that's a fire hazard, potential fire hazard. The Friday crew left its caulking equipment in there. And then it's actually supposed to be an igniter switch connected. So if you go up with your arrow over that little red looking little line down at the bottom to the right there, and follow it all the way down to that pan to your right, go up a little bit, right there. So that's an igniter switch that's supposed to be placed up beside that dial, that black little dial. They just left it hanging down in there. So that actually is like a little pilot lighter igniter switch. So they didn't even hook that up. The next photo, he had ducts in direct contact. We just talked about that. So that's another concern. And this is all on his home, as you can see the date.
That he knew everything about.
But he knew everything about it. So you can see here, this is new construction. The vent cap was left on top of the plumbing jack. So those type of pipes, when you see them on a roof, those are the ones for like the areas where they have your bathrooms or sinks and things like that, anywhere the plumbing is running through. Those are gonna be set up on the rooftop. Now, water doesn't come in from the rain and be able to get into your home. A lot of times people think, oh, we got to cover those because water can come in through these pipes and get in. No, it's not designed to be able to do so. But you're supposed to take the caps off. They're pressurizing the home, testing it out when they're first getting everything installed. They forgot to take the cap off. So the only way they normally take it off is they cut a piece of the pipe and the whole thing is just off. They forget to do this when you go to flush the commode after a few times, it's gonna stop. So that's one thing they forgot to do on that new construction. And the next photo is what they call missing spark rings or goof rings. So anytime in most houses now, you got a backsplash in your kitchen. And so when you can just think about, most outlets are dead on your drywall inside of your home, flush to the walls. But right behind the drywall is actually like the studs that they're positioned on and things like that. So they're flush to the wall, basically. When you put a backsplash on, you're pulling them off of the drywall, which is gonna put a little gap in between that space. The gap behind that could end up leading to what they have, a spark that could come out of the outlets. You know, sometimes we plug stuff in, sparks happen, things like that. But now you got a gap that can allow that spark to end up pushing in between that drywall and the backsplash, which could lead to a potential fire. So you never see this goof ring or spark ring, they call them, because it's behind your cover plate. But I take those out looking for those to be able to point out for new construction or resale. But these are some of those little things that, you know, you try to separate yourself with that some people may not do. I don't want to tell y'all too much because one of y'all relatives may be a home inspector. And you may be like, make sure you're checking this now. But I look at the fact we all got enough business in Houston, we can all work together.
I'm looking at it for my own home.
So on this home, this was an older home, as you can see, but those are post-tension cables in that first photo, and they're exposed. So in our foundations here in Texas, most of them are, in this area, are post-tension slabs. And so as far as if they're on a concrete slab. So when we're asking, hey, what type of foundation is it pier and beam or slab? So that's what we're talking about. Is it on a concrete slab or is it pier and beam? But this is the post-tension portions of it. So if you ever go past a new construction before they pour the slab, you see all these rebar and things out there where they're putting post-tension cables out there as well. So the post-tension cables are pulled as tight as they possibly can be with machinery. And then they end up sealing them. All of that area is supposed to be sealed in. And they cut that cable off beforehand. And then they seal it in. But over time, regardless of who home you're at, that's gonna wear out because that wasn't a seal that was a part of the regular foundation. It's just a little cap patch that they put over the top. So you're supposed to just keep it sealed up or just a maintenance type thing. It may happen every 10 years or something like that. But if you don't, what could potentially happen as that continues to rust, it's kind of like a rubber band. You stretch it as far as it can, over time, it's gonna eventually pop. It'll blow out that portion. From what I've understood from foundation specialists, engineers, it'll blow that portion of your foundation out. So now you don't even have any support on your home. So now you're dealing with a wall problem, you're dealing with wood problem, more problem, and it's gonna cost some money to get that foundation fixed. Instead of just going to Lowe's, Home Depot, I don't get money from them either, but they make a mortar mix that you can just go in and seal it up. You want to clean that post-tension cable back off a little bit on that end and then seal that area up. The next one is a photo of the toilets. We're supposed to straddle toilets. I've gotten some ringworms in some houses from doing different things, but yeah, you can see that toilet nasty, but we have to straddle toilets and check them to see if they're loose at the flooring. Obviously, this one is loose. The buyer's agent was there. I told her, don't go in that bathroom, use another one. And then I heard her because the toilet was loose. I tried to explain it and she went in the wrong bathroom and she found out the toilet was loose. So that's something there. So
Oh, sorry.
the next one is a safety concern. This is on top of your water heaters if you have a gas water heater. So you can see the vent pipe where that hole is, that opening, that vent pipe is supposed to be completely over the top. What it's doing is being able to take all of those fumes and carbon monoxide out of the home to the exterior. In this case, it's just coming out into your attic space, which could lead to coming into your home, which could obviously be a safety concern. So in this case, regardless who I'm working for, seller or buyer, I have to make the other one aware of this because this is a life-threatening type of situation. And by trick rules, we're required to make people aware. So that seller, if they're not there, I call out to the listing agent to make them aware. First, I tell my buyer, hey, I gotta call the seller's agent to make them, or listing agent to make them aware of what's going on so they can make their clients aware. Now,
I'm sorry, that's like one of the #1 issues I see in house.
yeah, yeah.
It's so pitiful.
And so what's the problem a lot of times on a resale is what happens is you get your shingles redone and nobody comes in the attic to see who shifted the pipes around on stuff. So then that pipe gets moved a little bit as they're putting the shingles on. I've seen this happen even on my home. And nobody came in the attic to check. We just know we got new shingles, everything look good. And you go in the attic and that's something you're seeing. So that could be a life-threatening issue. The next photo is your dryer vent. So your dryer vent that's on the roof, and you can also have them on the sides of the house and places like that. But this particular style is on the roof. It's the correct type of cap, because you'll also see the bunnet cap, or the ones that have like the 4 ports that you'll see hanging back over, kind of like it goes up and comes back down. That's improper. But on this photo, what we're showing is they got a screen over the front, and you can see the lint is building up. So then that's going to lead to it clogging up. Now you got a potential fire hazard. So that vent cover should not be on there. And so a lot of times people are trying to keep rodents out, things like that, but now you're causing yourself an even worse problem if your house catches on fire. Not to say that you might get a roof leak on that photo too, because the vent cap underneath it, you can see the gap, which lead to water penetration underneath it. So there's 2 different photos. This should be the last 2, but the first photo is new construction. The other photo is an old home. New construction, those black marks on there, that's damage from them tracking your shingles. Like I was talking about, people walking your shingles all the time. Those are called scuff marks. And you'll see them a lot of times on shingle and won't even pay much attention, but those are scuff marks. So the granules are gone on those spots. And so they're gonna look like the second photo, because you can see those are the same style shingles. That's considered those 30-year shingles. From my understanding from roofers, the 3-tab shingles that we see on some homes, the regular just flat ones all the way across, typically you'll get about 10 years out of them, even though they say they're 15-year shingles, because in the Houston area it gets so hot. That's what I hear from the roofers. The ones like these are considered your 30-year shingles, and they say you'll get about 20 years out of those on most bases. Now you obviously can get longer depending on your house and where you're sitting at, how many trees are around, different factors, but they say on average that's what they see. And on that second photo, granule loss, the shiny parts that you're seeing, that and that ashy look, that's where you pretty much lost all of it. The granules are gone. So those black scuff marks on the new construction are eventually going to look like the ones on the other side. And when your shingles get like that, you need to be calling a roofer, because it's over. They done. There's no more life to them. And again, that's my information, the website to be able to go on. Like I said, you can schedule your own inspection. Your clients, if they choose to pay prior to or after the inspection with a credit card, you can do that online. I don't see your information. It's like going to Amazon. It'll be a link that comes to your client. They can pay there via credit card. It's not a different charge fee because of credit cards or anything like that. Zelle, cash, check, money orders, those are accepted as well. And then obviously my email, phone number, if you want to text and say, hey, how much is it to do a home of this size? I don't care how many bedrooms it is. A lot of times people tell me, hey, it's a 2-story, it's a 1-story, it's a 3-2 or 4-2 or 4-3. I don't care about that. I got to inspect the home regardless. I don't charge off of how many bedrooms I got to look at, or how I don't even charge. Some inspectors charge off how many ACs they got to look at. I just look at I got to go do the house. I'm charging you basically like a lot of people do off square footage. Then you got to look at the fact if it's an older home, sometimes those are worse in the attic spaces. So it's harder to navigate through, because it's been several I have to lay on my stomach to get over to the units I got to get to, because I'm just not one to give up easy. Because I look at, like I said before, my mom is buying this house. I got to know what's over there. So if I got to crawl on my belly to get over there without hurting myself, I'm crawling on my belly to get over there. And I don't try to I put a timetable on there so you'll have a gist of what it may take me as far as time frame. I'm not in a rush. So if you got an inspector you're working with saying that he gets my inspections done within an hour and a half, while you're saying 3 hours, because number one, that dishwasher in most houses take about 2 hours to run by itself. And I'm not leaving that house until that dishwasher completely says clean. When it says clean, I'm ready to go. I don't care if I'm finished with the house or not. Now I can leave. So if it takes me longer, that's fine. But I'll get your house done in a timely fashion and the report will be turned around. But typically an hour per 1,000 square feet. But it has been times I've been in a 1,500 square foot house. I'll be there for 3 hours. And so It just depends on the things that I'm running up against that I need to maybe make videos or just regular still shots, or I'm trying to figure out what's causing this problem. So it may take me a little while to figure out what's causing this problem to try to be able to diagnose it to the best of my ability in your report. And then color coded items are in the report as well to be able to have your clients to know the levels of concern. So I color code them so they won't think everything is just a major concern. There's levels to everything. So I put like blue, for instance, is maintenance type stuff. Orange is more so middle of the road. And red is, hey, that's a safety concern. And so those are the different type of levels that you'll see in the report. And it's a description in that email to explain everything to them. And most clients that I've worked with and realtors tell me that this is the easiest reports they've come across from the standpoint, they don't have to sit and discuss everything with the clients any longer and spend that extra time saying, well, call the inspector, because everything is laid out, easy to explain.
All right.
Any questions from anybody or anything like that?
That's good. That's a nice
Hopefully y'all didn't
information.
fall asleep.
Oh, no.
No, that was good.
Margaret, you have a question?
Yes.
Afternoon, good afternoon, Brooks and Davis family. Can you all hear me? This is Ken.
Yes, we can, Kim. Yes, we can. Thank you.
Awesome. Mr. McCray, what a phenomenal presentation. No, I don't believe anybody was able to fall asleep. You know, generally, of course, doing it remotely, you find yourself doing 2 or 3 things. I couldn't focus on those other things I was trying to get to because of how intently I was listening to the presentation. It was an excellent presentation. Definitely is obvious to see your degree of not only expertise, but your commitment, and certainly the type of industry partner, you know, that we look for at the in our team, Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm. I do have a couple of questions. Interestingly enough, I had received a copy of the Form 7-6 this week from an inspector that I work with, just informing me that, you know, the forms had changed, but he didn't give me any insight. And I printed it out and looked over it and say, oh, they just kind of changed the format. And I didn't notice the subtle changes. So thank you for pointing that out. And I have 2 questions. One, your reports, do you automatically include the buyer's agent when sending out the report, or is that something that a buyer has to request to have happen? And then secondly, how about the presence of the buyers during the inspection? I work with a lot of first-time home buyers, and I generally encourage them to attend. I speak with the inspector of choice, and I say of choice because it's so important that we give that choice to the prospective buyer. So again, I'm looking forward to including you in a short list of credible, reputable inspectors that I work with. But generally, I encourage particularly first-time home buyers to be present. Now, the video that you spoke of, I can see how, you know, that would eliminate necessarily the presence of the buyer. But my question is, how do you feel about that? And, you know, advising us as professionals, real estate professionals, when is the optimum time for a buyer to come? Is it like the last hour of the inspection, you do an overview, or the presence for the duration of the time? Do you have a preference?
No, ma'am, doesn't bother me at all. I tell them from the beginning. When a lot of times I like to talk to them prior to start off your first question. What I do is I reach out to the buyers. I always include the buyer's agent automatically in receiving a report, but I know by TREC rules, we're required to get permission from that client to be able to send out the report. So I always just ask them, hey, is it okay to provide your realtor with a copy of the report? I have had it happen one time that they said no. It shocked me because I wasn't expecting it. So my question was, why are you working with this person if you don't trust them? But anyway, I always include you also. When they get the report, you get a copy of the same report. And then on my reports, I forgot to mention, you also have the ability, now I might be stating it wrong. Now it's a repair list, but it's called an addendum, right? So you can create your own addendum on the report itself without typing out anything. So on my reports, there's gonna be a button, and I'll send you a little quick 2-minute video of how to do it. And so you just sit and look at every one of the things you want to put together on that repair list or addendum. And it's a button at the top, tab at the top, you click it, drop it down, tell it I want to create a repair list, and you check box beside everything that's in the report that you want to be compiled into a list. It automatically populates it over to another report. And then all you got to do, you can also put a price tag by everything. Now, while I'm speaking on that, I also offer, now this is another a la carte thing. You can get a repair pricer report that'll be submitted out to you and your buyer. And it itemizes out from professionals that are in our local area that this company particularly goes out, it's a third-party company as well. They go out and reach out to professionals in those different categories to find out the price point. Now they're looking at, just being honest, they're gonna find the higher people on this end because they want your clients to know on the high end what it's gonna cost. If an electrician fix this, fix that, then they also put another price tag out. What if a general contractor come and fix everything? But it's also itemized out. Every single item puts a price tag by it. So then they're aware of what it'll cost them. Now you may have a group of people you're working with that'll be able to break this stuff down at a way cheaper rate. But at the same time, at least they know what I'm looking at. Now, some people look at it as a scare tactic and they say, oh, my first time home buyers are gonna be scared. But I try to caution them beforehand and talk to them and make them aware of what's the reason and significance behind getting this if they want it. As far as for them being there, it doesn't bother me at all because I look at it as an opportunity for them to be able to see any of these deficiencies before they see them again on a report. Now it's just in writing of what I've already visually seen. It may take me a little longer to do the inspection because I'm going to talk them through. If they follow me, I'm gonna put them to work. That's just me. Hey, can you turn that light on? Hey, can you turn this on? Can you turn that on?
They need
But
to know anyway.
that way they'll know what's going on, but at the same time, we're working together and we're going through this home. And at the end of the whole thing, they understand everything better. Now, I don't let them do anything that's part of the inspection, but flipping a light switch on or turn the water on over here is not gonna hurt anything. So it doesn't bother me for them to be there. I do tell people all the time, I understand you got a job and you may not want to sit and watch me work, and that's totally fine. So about 85% of the time, no one shows up to an inspection, but I can guarantee you will understand this report. And if you don't, just call me and we can review everything. Just try to look it over first before you call. That way you'll have your questions already together. And then we don't have to go line item by line item of the entire report. So it doesn't bother me either way. And I forgot to mention, but Miss Davis, I work with her, so she'll be able to tell you how reports are and how my process is. So I work with her on a regular basis as well with her clientele.
Looks like the client is on too as well. So, Margaret, you had a question.
Yes. Termite inspections, do
Mhm.
you do any of those, or if you see any evidence, do you like point it out and say, okay, you need to get the specialist?
Mhm. So by trick, we can't utilize the word termite unless we have a license. I'm currently going through with my background, like I was saying, I just found out I can actually start my own pest control company by just passing the test. I know it sounds easy, but that's my next step. So currently I utilize a gentleman who has been had his own pest control company now for over 24 years. So what I do, anybody you may need to have a service done while I'm there, I try to go ahead and schedule like a well and septic. I schedule everything on behalf of your clients. So they come out with me. So that keeps you from having to waste your time coming out just to open the door for somebody. I have a Supra. I know the access to be able to call what they used to call centralized showing time. I know how to call out to them. I go on the HAR website if necessary, if showing time doesn't have the information because the listing agent didn't list it through them, go on HAR, be able to set it up to schedule the inspection. So I introduce myself to the listing agent. I actually include the listing agent on the correspondence so nobody can lie and say they didn't get the information. So I not only put it on HAR, but I also put it on the report, not meaning that they get a copy of the report, but the correspondence that I send out from my system, they actually see that. and they know who's the inspector because my photo is on there, or Marlon's photo will be on there, showing them what we look like. So they'll know who's coming to their listings to perform those inspections. And again, I have the super and things like that, and also Marlon.
Nice. Awesome. Do you have any other questions from those who are online or anyone here in the
Did I answer your
office?
question about the turbine? So I just scheduled that gentleman to come out with me. He does the report and turn around the same day as well.
Okay.
All right, great. That's good. Michael, do you
Hey, I
have, do you want to
I want
chime
to
in?
jump in there. Yeah,
All right.
absolutely. You read my mind, Jess. We be on the same wavelength. I'm actually en route. So
Awesome.
Jernard, you may still be there by the time I get there. But I definitely, if not, I want to definitely thank you verbally for, coming in. I agree with Kim, very thorough,
Very.
excellent information. I mean, you really know a lot about what you're doing, and I can definitely see that you take a lot of pride.
Mhm. You got muted, Mike.
There I go. All right. Jernard, we're gonna make sure that we get you connected in our private Facebook group. Now you're officially part of the family. So we
Yep.
take care of our family. And again, I just really thank you. Matter of fact, yeah, this morning I found out that my wife had done some business with you already. So I was like, okay, well, give me the scoop, man. What I done got myself into? But she spoke very highly of you and your service. So she can definitely give people some insights around it. So again, just thank you, man. Keep doing great work. And I look forward to our agents and you building a relationship and you guys doing some business together.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, sir. And I do understand that people have to put a list out as far as the realtors, but I always tell people I'm confident in who I am. And I always tell people the same thing. I can guarantee, did you hear me?
They hear you.
I can guarantee that once you and your clients work with me or with Marlon, you won't have to worry about anybody being dissatisfied with the services that are provided.
Yeah.
Now, I can't guarantee you're gonna always work with me or your clients because they choose who they want to choose. And I'm not the cheapest person out there. I always tell people that I'm not the most expensive, but I can guarantee you that it's gonna be thorough and it's gonna be done as if we're moving into that home.
Paying for quality.
And so my thing is, as well as every report, because Marlon has been with me now since September. And so he's done roughly about 60 plus inspections from September to December. And so last year we did roughly about 400 inspections. And it's just, hey, study building that business to grow it. But at the same time, any report before it goes out, I always look it over from him because that's my reputation on the line. This is the baby I grew from a seedling, and I'm trying to grow it on up to be able to branch out and be able to have my own team eventually. That's the goal. And then be able to branch on off into other locations as far as getting this pest control thing going and actually getting up to Austin too. So
Awesome.
it's the goals.
That's good. Sean, you have a question? I see your hand is raised. Go ahead and unmute.
Yes, so with here lately with making offers and having to try to win those offers, putting in a 3-day option period, what is the your availability like if we do put in a 3-day of option period on getting you out there to the client's house to do an inspection?
Good question.
One or two things can happen. You can go on the schedule. Sometimes you may not see the times that you're looking for. Typically on the scheduling, you're going to see Marlon set up for 8 o'clock start times. We do shuffle it around on how we need to. You'll see myself set up for 8 and a 1. But what I look at is depending, I actually reside in Tomball. So if I got to come to this part of town, then I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to start at 9 o'clock. But typically I try to get something started early in the morning, but 3 days doesn't bother me. I've had people call me the next day because what's going to happen is I know I got to work and be flexible. And my schedule fills up pretty quick, but at the same time, that's why I brought on another person. Now, my thing I have run into several times is that, hey, people are used to working with you. And so they've gotten comfortable with the way you do things. And now you're saying, I got to not only trust you, but I got to trust somebody else with my clients for them to do the report. That's real tough for us. And I have to explain that, hey, understand that I'm not going to put you out with somebody that I don't trust. And so understand that this is just a process of growth for the company. But at the same time, like I said before, to reiterate that I will be looking over those reports and reviewing them before I allow them to be submitted out. So I don't have a problem with Marlon Smith. He does a great job. And so I know he's going to continue to do such, and then we can get those turned around in a 3-day time frame. Because like I said, the report is going to be turned around the same day anyway. So you won't have to worry about that. But if you know in advance that, hey, we're about to put an offer in on this particular home, and we want to know if you got availability these type of days, yeah, it's already on my mind at that point. It's just a matter of, hey, you either submit to me the client's contact information so I can reach out to them to see if we'll go, or if they already have told you we'll go, just send me the contact information to your clients, including the email address to be able to get everything situated and your contact information and the address to that home. I'll get it scheduled myself, or one of you all could do it online. It's just whatever's easiest for you all.
Nice.
And we'll get it
Okay.
done.
Nice,
Thank
nice.
you.
Thank you Sean, for your question. That was great. Any other questions from the team online or in the office? All right, and Jernard, I think that, you've got some great compliments. It was a great presentation. I mean, I think that the name of your company explains it all, does it all. I mean, you literally, like, from the a la carte services, something for me that's very important is the convenience and the simplicity of being able to get things done quickly so that we can definitely get to the closing table faster. So the fact that you can accommodate that 3-day inspection, option period, that is great and phenomenal. I just see a lot of great things in regards to your company. I have not experienced inspector explain things as thoroughly as you have. So I appreciate that. And hopefully you all have found, I know that you found value from this training, and we're going to continue to bring you all, value in our trainings. And thank you for coming on to this training today. I hate that you aren't here, but if you are in the area, come get some sandwiches. What's going on, Mike?
Hey, Jess, great job. You and Shay holding it down. I had to go to the West office today. Y'all know I go to the West office on Thursday. So any of my realtors that's out there on the West side, y'all come see me on Thursdays. But great job, you guys facilitating the training in my absence. We got a strong support team. And I just wanted to publicly thank both of y'all for that.
Oh, thank you, Mike. It was fun. It's been fun. It's glad to see everybody on here for sure. But we're going to eat. If you're in the area, come by, stop by, say hi, come grab you something to eat. But this is recorded, and we will have it on the YouTube definitely by next week, if not sooner, so that you can go back and if you didn't take notes, you can. But thank you all for attending today.
And then if you want to.
Thanks again,
learn
Mr.
more about
McCray.
me, yes, ma'am. Go on my website, be able to see everything about me, and then also go out like Google and places like that to see what people are saying.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that way you don't just take my word, just see. I don't toot my own horn. I don't believe in doing that. I let other people speak on my behalf that have had the experience. So you'll be able to go on Google, Facebook, different places like that to see what people are saying.
Awesome. And we do have flyers and cards as well here that he has left for us. So if you stop by the office, definitely pick up that so you can get that out to your clients as well. All right. Well, you all have a great and productive day. And just contact the office if you have any questions. You all take care.
Bye, everybody.
Awesome. So much.
Bye.